Okay, good morning everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of A Man and His Zero, where over the course of the next 14 days, to make a complete lawn service cycle for my business, because my customers are all 14-day cycle, except I got one that's once a week, a few that are 10 days, one that's every 3 weeks, one that's once a month. But for the most part, it's a 14-day cycle. So we are going to head out today, just myself, no helper. And we now are going to be using higher quality, more powerful, bigger, faster, better, to some people, machines. We're going to be using a 42-inch zero turn, hence the name A Guy in His Zero. It's a Gravely ZTX 42. We're going to be using the Combi edger. It's the steel Combi system with the 94 motor, I believe it is. And I'll show you that later. We're going to be using the 4-mix weed eater instead of the FS70 2-stroke. We're going to be using the 4-mix, which uses 2-stroke gas, but it's got valves. It's just a more low end, higher torque motor. It's got a lot more power, and it keeps up with my speed of weed eating. We're going to be using the BG86 handheld blower by Steel. That's the same blower. And the hedge trimmer, we're going to be using the fully articulating Steel extended pole hedge trimmer. And I'll show you that one later and get you the exact model number of all the equipment as we go through the series here. The goal of today is not to compete against somebody who has just a push mower, but rather it's to show the level of accomplishments you can receive now with different equipment. For example, 2 weeks ago today, me and a helper went out and we had 14 lawns to do, and we got 12 accomplished. We worked till 5:30 at night, and we had to carry 2 over to the next day due to rain. We got rained out, and it was 5:30 at night, and it was 2 of us. And that's episode 1 of 2 Guys and a Mower. So you can go back for reference points. You can go back and you can check that series. Today, series 1 of A Guy in His Zero, or episode 1 of A Guy in His Zero, is the exact day that we did 14 days ago, and it was 2 guys and a push mower. So 2 guys and a mower. And it was, I mean, it's a self-propelled rear-wheel drive, but I mean, it's a push mower. You got to push it along. It's not a commercial grade mower. It's not a Snapper or a Honda or an X Mark 21. It's a Troy built off the shelf at Lowe's. So good mower, don't get me wrong, but you got to help it along a little bit here and there, especially through the thick stuff. So so we are going to head out today, and we actually have 16 on the schedule instead of 14. And that's because, one, the customer has not canceled yet. Last week at this time, I got a text message saying, don't do the yard. My husband did it this weekend for a party, so we didn't do her yard. So we ended up not doing that yard, and then we did, who was the other one? My neighbor. I did my neighbor a day prior to episode 1, and I showed you guys the side shoot ability of the TB360. So I did my yard and my neighbor's yard. So today we're heading out, we're doing my neighbor's yard. We are so far doing that one customer that canceled last week, but we're gonna head out and do the exact same route in the exact same order that we did last time, and I'll be able to let you know how we're doing throughout the day and compare it. Now, like I said before, it's not a competition. It's not a, oh, duh. I mean, okay. But the point of this is, let's say you and a mower, and you're pretty much maxing out your days, and now you need to get it to the next level. I maxed out my days with with 2 guys and a mower. That series is maxed out. I mean, I don't think I could take another freaking lawn in any of those days. I don't think my body could do it. I don't think it was a lot of mowing. I mean, it was a lot of mowing with that mower. And I had a helper who did the weed eating and edging, and we accomplished what we accomplished, which was great. Now, we don't have a helper. We don't have a labor cost. Now, what we did is we went out and we purchased a 42-inch zero turn. Not an $8,000 machine and not a $2,000 machine. A right there, middle of the line, a nice Gravely. It's got 3 blades. It's got a great deck. It's an amazing deck. It's got a great motor, a lot of power. You guys seen reviews I've done of that mower. You can go back and check out my reviews. I got a playlist for reviews. Pretty awesome machine. So our goal this 2-week cycle now is to make a decision. Should we hire a person in order to grow our business, or would it be more beneficial to not hire a person, not take on the labor, not take on the responsibility of another person, but rather just get a bigger piece of machinery, which would be the 42-inch. Maybe get more powerful weed eaters and edgers that will help you move along faster. Maybe have, less issues. Things that'll make your day a little bit better with heavier duty, stronger components, like the edger. And I'll do a comparison video between the Echo edger that I used and this steel combi. There's no comparison. It's apples to oranges. I mean, it's a $200 machine versus a $400 machine, and you definitely get what you pay for in that situation with the way I move, the way I edge, with what I'm looking for and how I like to feel. So that's the whole point of this, is we're going to compare now the next level equipment. We did basic, and we had a helper, and we maxed it out. Now, should we make an investment and get better equipment, move the other stuff off to, say, backup machinery, store it in the garage or the tool shed for a while, and if something happens, if you gotta put your weed eaters in service or something, in the service department for some reason, then you can grab the old FS70 or an old Husqvarna weed eater or an Echo, something you bought as inexpensive as possible off the shelf at Home Depot or Lowe's. So that's the whole point of this next 2 weeks, is hire a person and keep what you got. What can you accomplish? Well, I showed you what you can accomplish. Or is it more beneficial financially and time-wise and the ability to grow your business larger to not hire a person, but rather put that money into maybe, say, monthly payments on a machine, or take a big chunk of money. My machine was $3,500. Take a big old chunk of money and buy yourself, a machine large enough to make a difference, but small enough to still stay economical, efficient, be able to fit through most of your customers' gates, stuff like that. So that is the purpose of this next 2 weeks. We'll be able to compare each day as we go and say, okay, we ended this day at this time. This is why we ended this day at this time. And today we're ending at this time. Last week we did this many yards and had to carry forward this many yards to the next day. This week we did this many yards and had to carry forward this many yards to the next day. It's purely going to be compare the two systems, a man and a zero versus 2 guys in a mower. That's what we're going to do. That's what this series is all about. It should get pretty fun as the week goes on. It is Monday. I'm starting a day earlier to try to help me not have to work Saturday and to try to stay ahead of the weather and stuff like that. So let's go ahead. Let's get everything going here. I'm going to stop up here and get ice. I'm good for gas. We'll be at the first yard at 8 a.m. just like 2 weeks ago. At 8 a.m. I wrote down on my papers we started the first yard. So we're going to do that today. I'll show you the yard, and we'll be able to go back, and you guys will be able to go back between episodes. If you don't believe me, you can go back between episodes. Sorry about the sun. And you can check for yourself. I'm going to be as honest and as accurate as possible. If there's any notes that need to be discussed, like a change, like this is a new yard that was added, like today we got a new yard that's added to the mix we didn't do 2 weeks ago, that's going to be a difference, and that's growing the business. And that's a great example of You know, from 2 weeks ago to today, this day's growing by a few yards, and I don't have a helper, but I do have better equipment. Okay, so we got the first one done, and here it is. We don't do the bushes, we don't do the flower beds. Just edge, weed eat, mow. That's the basic job. Just a basic job. And here's a pretty good sized backyard. It's pretty thick. 2 weeks ago we had to rake quite a bit. He raked because the 21-inch just couldn't really process it good enough. So it was just quicker to rake it up. So today I didn't have to rake, mulched everything up. So here's what I'm not going to do throughout this series. I'm not going to give times. I'm not going to say, well, last time I was here for an hour and a half and today I was here for 30 minutes. I don't want to get into that. That's just too deep in the weeds. It's just end result at the end of the day. But I'm going to show you the yards that we do, and they're the same yards that we did 2 weeks ago. Unless there is a difference, unless there's a change, a new lawn or something like that. So this is number one. It sucks when you show up to a customer's yard and their sprinklers are on. Their sprinklers are on. Oh boy. I don't know where the valves are. I guess I could put garbage cans over them. This is number two. And at this point, 2 weeks ago, I had said that we just completed the 2 largest lawns of the day. This was number 2 2 weeks ago too. So I remember 2 weeks ago, I remember thinking to myself, oh Lord, after the second yard. So, you know, using the zero turn, I'm fresh, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm good. Let's go get dinner and a movie. I'm still good. Look at these clouds. I'm like completely surrounded by terrible clouds. And they said only, I'm wondering what's behind those trees right there. That looks kind of ominous. But they said 30% chance of rain today, but good Lord, huh? But yeah, this is a pretty big yard here, and the other one was pretty big. So now we're gonna move on to the other side. Ooh, it's getting windy. Oh Lord, I better batten down the hatches. I was asked a question the other day about edging with my weed eater. He mentioned that he learned from Geek to Freak how to edge with a weed eater and was wondering my thoughts on it. I usually will edge with the blade edger for a couple reasons. Number one, I've never had a customer say to me, oh good, you used the whip or the weed eater to edge. Never one time has a customer ever approached me and said that they were happy that I used that. But they have approached me and said, oh good, I'm glad you have an edger. So that's one thing. So I know that some customers do recognize that, and they view it one way or the other. I don't know. That's one thing. Number two, I find it to be much faster to use the edger and then use the weed eater. And I know people have said, hey, if you edge with your weed eater, you don't have to go back to your trailer and swap out machines. Okay, it takes me not more than 30 seconds to put my edger on the rack and grab my weed eater off the rack. Not even 30 seconds. And the way I edge in a way that, you know, I start somewhere and then I end at a certain area and I'm close to my trailer. Also, the thing that slows us down as lawn guys out here working is stopping and turning, whether it's by feet, by push mower, or by zero turn, or by walk behind, or by riding mower. The more you can go in a straight line or sweeping curves, the faster you're going to go, the faster you can move. The more that you have to stop, reverse motion, the slower it's going to take you. So I would challenge anybody, to be honest, and I have watched other lawn services where they're got their weed eater already in their hand and they're weed eating and edging, and I'll go and grab my edger and I will edge and I will weed eat and I will be done before them. Part of that is because I'm fast. They might not have been. Secondly is they might not know I was attempting to challenge them, you know, without telling them I was challenging them, but I am in my mind. I'm challenging that other guy. I'm looking, and because I pay attention to efficiency, and so I want to know, can I catch this guy and pass this guy with my system? And I do, probably every single time. And I'm not trying to be braggadocious, but it's the truth. If I didn't, I wouldn't do it. I would do it with the weed eater. Everything that I've tested and checked, I can accomplish faster and more efficiently by using an edger. When you edge with a stick edger, you're a constant state of motion. You only slow down enough to pivot your turn on your sidewalk to go up the driveway, and vice versa. You continue your motion. You never stop, flip the edger over and back up. Flower beds and all that, rock beds and all that can be done with the edger, in my opinion, safer than the whip. Because you can jam the head of the edger down to the rock and really stifle the ability of the rock to fly out. If you're sitting there holding it up high and the blade's spinning away, you're gonna kick a rock back, just like a weed eater will do the same thing. But if you shove that edger, the head of the edger down, and really hold it down there, don't let the rocks kick you up, and really muscle it down there and go at a steady pace, you can control the backflow, the kick out of the rock, and you know, be really, you know, you can be good about it. Once you have the entire property edged and all you have to do is weed eat, I mow and then I weed eat. And I do that because I find that I weed eat too much if I don't mow first. I start weed eating bigger than I really have to. And when I mow first, I don't weed eat as much as I did before. And other people have commented that they've tried that now. They mow first and then weed eat, and they're cutting their time down. So when I have the property edged with the blade, and it takes me no time at all to edge it, and then I have the yard mowed, when I go back and I weed eat, it's lightning fast. And I mean lightning fast weed eating. And I'm not stopping motion. I weed eat down, and if a weed bed needs to be ground down, then I grind it down. The only time I'll flip my weed eater over is if I decided not to edge something, or if the edging just didn't come out to my standard, and I might clean something up by flipping the weed eater over. So that's the general rule of thumb for me, is I edge with the blade because I find it to be more efficient. You know, if it's hey look, if you got 5 pounds of chain wrapped around all your equipment in the back of a van, shoved all the way up in the front, and you have to climb in and out of your you know, it's a pain in the ass to grab your equipment, okay. If you have a trailer like mine with quick release latches that takes you no time at all to swap machines over, then it's super efficient. So I find it to be far more efficient to use the 2 machines that way. I find it to do a better job. I think it looks better. It's perfect. It's like a straight iron went, or straight angle went down, rather than seeing that occasional wave from the trimmer that is produced. I can also make a deeper crack with the blade than with the weed eater. And I like to use the 80 thousandths weed eater line instead of 95 thousandths because it cuts through like a razor blade instead of like a butter knife. If you don't know what I mean, ask me and I'll talk about that in another video. So edging with 80 thousandths line, you find yourself having to advance the line a lot. So when you consider all of those things, I find the edger to be far superior, the edger blade to be far superior over the weed eater. So that's my preference. However, I can edge with the weed eater almost just as good as the edger, but I find it to take a little bit too much time. But there are yards like this one that I'll edge with the weed eater. So when I show you this finished product, this one's not good for video, but when I show you the finished product, you'll see edged with the weed eater. Okay, so this yard I do edge with the weed eater, like I was saying. So I edge this one up because it's not really a very good edge anyways. It's kind of hit or miss, so I just hit this with the weed eater so you could see This one we cut high. I say we, but you know, me and my company, we cut this kind of high. So, but that's 3 done. And it actually sprinkled on me, for crying out loud, but now it blew away. So now it's looking pretty good. So let's keep on going here. I'm done with the far south that I do. That's called Georgetown. I'm done with that. Now I'm heading all the way out to the far east that I do, which is the senior citizen couple. On the way to the far east, the senior citizen couple, I have one in the middle. 2 weeks ago, she texted me the day that we were coming out, and she texted me and said, hey, don't do the yard because my husband did it this weekend or whatever. Okay, no problem. She's done that before, but then I come back in 2 weeks and then I do the yard. So today I show up at that yard and it looks like it was just cut this weekend again. So I text her, you know, hey, was the yard serviced? I'm here to mow the yard, but looks like it's been done. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and cut a yard that's just been cut and then fight with a customer about whether or not I'm gonna get money. So at the level of where my business is at this point, she's fired. So I am gonna go ahead and whatever her response is, I'm gonna let her know that I'm not going to be able to continue servicing her account because I can't build a business around wondering if I'm going to be doing a yard or not today. That's not how I function. And I just drove a little bit further than I had to from going far east to far south. I did a detour to hit this lady. Only a little bit out of the way, but it's financially worth it to do her. But I have to know that I'm going to do her because I have to plan my days. So, you know what I mean? When I max out my days, I max out my days. And then I can't sit there and max out my days and then tell somebody, oh, I can't do something today because I'm booked. And then I go to 2 or 3 houses and they're serviced. And so then I go home with, you know, $120 or $160 or $150 less in my pocket than what I set out with in the morning because the customer decided to do their own yard. I can't function like that. I don't work that way. I would rather fill her spot in with somebody else who's consistent, which I did. So we left today having to do 16 properties. I'm dropping this lady. I'm still doing 16 properties because the guy right down the street from me for the same price wants me to do his yard today. So I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze him in and drop and not do this one. So it kind of works out that way. And when your business gets to a point where literally 3 or 4 days a week you have to juggle new customers, and you can afford to remove customers that you just don't want to mess with. I'm a no nonsense kind of guy. I just don't want the nonsense of wondering. I don't function like that. Let me show you what me and my Zero just did. We did 5 yards actually. 1, which we did 2 weeks ago today. 2 weeks ago today. 3 and 4, which is mine and my neighbor, which we did the day prior. I did these prior to the season beginning, the first season. Actually, my backyard's where I did right before 2 Guys in a Mower, the series 1 or episode 1. I did a video of side shoot discharge. Sorry about the wind. And then way down there, where that electrical box is, that's 5. Right there. That was 5. That one sucked. That one has not been done in like 5 weeks, and they call me every once in a while. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. so here goes another one done. I think this one's 10. I have to go back and count. Let me show you this backyard. I know 2 weeks ago when I opened this gate and I saw this backyard with the push mower, I said, oh Lord, another big one. So there you go, pretty good size. And I went out outside there and I weeded the other side of the fence, but that little lake there, which it's actually a giant puddle, the HOA goes and does that. The crew that does the HOA work here does that stuff, so I don't have to. I just weeded it. But yeah, here we go. So that's 10 down. Now we're gonna head on up. I got 3 individual houses that I'd really like to get done before the storms come. I'm hearing thunder. Here goes another one. This one is big mow the front, small mow the back. So that's just what I did. So we got that done. Now, financially, we're not in as good of shape revenue-wise as we were 2 weeks ago today, and here's why. 2 weeks ago today, we actually worked on a Tuesday. Monday, I did the side shoot discharge video where I mowed my neighbor's yard and my yard. So that's a $30 yard, which I'm not ever going to raise the price on her. In fact, I just had her over for dinner last night. Sweet lady. So I got that yard, and my yard is free, of course. I did those 2 yards today in this route of 11 that we have accomplished so far. We're gonna go do one more, which is a $40 yard. That's gonna put us at 12 yards, which is gonna equal 2 weeks ago. And we're gonna be done a little after 5:30, and that's about the time that the clouds opened up on us 2 weeks ago. It was just a little after 5:30 when we left, and we had a 14-yard day and we left 2 yards. We went back home the next day. Today we have a 16-yard day, and we're gonna leave 4 yards. 5 yards actually. We have a 17-yard day. We're gonna leave 5 yards. We're gonna go do one, and then we're gonna leave 5 yards. One's a new one, and then the group of 4 that's together. So we're leaving with the same amount of yards accomplished and the same amount of time on the same big ass driving route, but we're not leaving with the same revenue, because a 40 and a 30 that was done 2 weeks ago as a part of that group of 4 is not being done today. Instead, they were replaced with a free and a 30, my yard and my neighbor. So we're down actually $40 financially today in revenue income compared to where we were 2 weeks ago in revenue income. So we are down $40. So I got to be honest with you about that. But that's why we're down that $40, because we're working a day earlier, and I wanted to do my yard and my neighbor's yard since we were working right there. Not a big deal. It's not like I'm losing money. It's just, you know, that group of 4, the 2 that we did last 2 weeks ago, will just be done tomorrow as a group of 4 now. That's all. Not a big deal. But I want to make sure that we express that in this series, that this isn't necessarily about money every day, because, you know, yard values are going to change area by area, but you see the yards, you see the quantity. That's what, you know, that's the more important thing here, is now what can one guy in a 0 do now that you saw what 2 guys in a mower can do? What can one guy in a 0 do? So far today, we're doing the exact same thing quantity wise as we did 2 weeks ago. The only difference is that seat is empty. So with that seat being empty, when we accomplish this yard today, yeah, $40 less in revenue today, because, you know, I didn't do, you know, because it's my yard, whatever. You know, I didn't put a value on my yard, but $40 less in revenue today, but about $100 less in payroll today. So the net keep is a positive $60 in my pocket, on a less financial created day. What's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, on a day that I've actually made less revenue, I'm keeping more at the end of the day, because of the 0 turn and me compared to a push mower and a helper. So right now, today, provided we get through this next yard, the comparison can be that with this route, even as crazy as this route is, with all the damn driving that I do, and this day sucks. This is a really, really long day for not nearly as much money as I would like. But this day is, I think today was a good example of what you can do with a zero turn in comparison to what you would do with the push mower and an extra guy. And that's what I'm trying to convey in this system. So what gets you the zero turn? And I'm sorry, this is a really big talking vlog, but I got to set the tone for the next 2 weeks. So today we're setting the tone, the triggers that we're looking for. This is what we're talking about. This is what we're looking for in the next 2 weeks. So this is like a highly informative vlog rather than a fun, exciting mowing vlog or anything like that. So what we're looking for is, at the end of the day, not paying payroll, what did I gain by not paying payroll? And then basically at the end of the week, we have to say, okay, well, I pay, let's just say I don't pay, but let's just say I pay $100 a month for financing my equipment. Let's just say I'm like you guys and I just run out and I finance my machine. So $25 a week. So 5 days a week. So $5 a day has to come off of our revenue to go toward our mower payment. Okay. So what we're trying to figure out is, as you get to that next level and you max out your one-man mowing operation with your push mower, and you're at a point now where you're going, so what do I do? Do I hire somebody and grow my business? Or do I finance a mower and grow my business? Do I finance something that is going to help me get done quicker, more efficiently? And so that's provided that you can get a trailer or work it out of the back of your truck safely. You have a place to store it all. You know, provided all that is, all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. That's all added expenses that has to be considered. But right now we're just looking for the meat and potatoes. Should you hire somebody and risk paying 60, 80, 100 bucks a day to, you know, a laborer, basically a day laborer kind of guy, and train them up? Or do you pay about 25 bucks a week and finance a mower for about 100 bucks a month and get things accomplished? So today is a really, really good day that shows, because we were lucky today, we're able to do the exact route that we did, but we squeezed in my yard and my neighbor's yard, which is fine. We didn't cut down any of the driving. I would have felt bad if we did 12 yards, but we didn't drive all the way up here where we drove up here to last week, 2 weeks ago. I'm trying to do exactly what we did, the quantity of yards and the distance. If I could do exactly what I did with my mower and myself, and the same driving, same route, then that's a good apples to apples comparison. So that's what I'm looking for right now. These skies are going to open up on us and come down rain here shortly. So I'm going to haul ass through this last yard here that I want to get done, and then that's going to leave a new one and a group of 4 for tomorrow. And then we move down to the area where we have like 12 yards all together, maybe 13 all together. So tomorrow we're going to head out having to do 17 to 18 yards tomorrow. And you know, we'll just do what we can. We just take it day by day. Tomorrow though, old boy had an appointment. We were only able to work until 3:30, and we only got 10 yards done. So I don't have that problem now, because I won't have a labor issue, and I will capitalize on that, because that's a part of the deal. Just like if my trailer gets a flat tire, that's a part of the deal. I can't subtract that loss of time and say, well, this doesn't count. No, it does count. That's a part of having bigger equipment. So that all comes into play. So I won't have labor issues tomorrow where I got to cut out of here early and get old boy to his appointment. I won't have that issue. So I'll be able to press on and keep going, and I might get all 17 yards done If I do, that's gonna put us a day and a half ahead of where we were 2 weeks ago, because this is Monday, not Tuesday, and last 2 weeks ago we didn't start till Tuesday. So if I can go 0 balance lawns by tomorrow night, and everybody is done, then wake up Wednesday and have Wednesday's work, Thursday's work, and Friday's work, I will not have any work to do on Saturday. We're gonna do this yard today. Right now, this will be lawn number 12. I would love to video it, but I really need a haul butt. I don't have time to move the camera around, and I don't want it to get rained on because it's looking kind of sketchy up there. So let me get this yard done, and then we'll be closing this video down. All right, guys. Some essentials that you should always have with you when you're mowing: water, Powerade, Gatorade, whatever, snacks, money. You never know when something's gonna happen. Debit card, credit card, whatever. Hammer, nails, because when you're aging, sometimes you don't see things right and you misjudge and you start ripping fences apart. I swear this is happening more and more often. I really need to get my eyes fixed. So I thought I'd let you guys see me suck it up, do the right thing here, fix my customer's fence. It's actually the neighbor's fence, but it's my customer's fence nonetheless. So, yep, I turned the corner, my front caster wheel caught it, ripped it off. So we'll just try to line this back up and hammer it back in place. My fault, my bad, I'll fix it. The right thing to do. This reminds me, this September, next month, hell am I hearing? Next month will be 3 years since I've smoked a cigarette. 3 years. And I pretty much went cold turkey. It was a Thursday. I said no more. I did electronic cigarettes Thursday and Friday. Friday night and went and bought the patch, because electronic cigarettes, I could tell, was going to be a fortune, too much money. So I went and got the patch. I wore the patch Saturday. I took the patch off Sunday and said I don't even need the patch. I'm determined to not ever smoke again. I never looked back. It's been 3 years. Cold turkey, basically. Just, I always tell people, you know, when you're ready to quit, because they all say, oh, I gotta quit, I gotta quit. I say, when you are ready to quit, you will quit. You will not quit when somebody tells you to quit. You will not quit on the patch or on electronic cigarettes. You will quit when you have made up your mind to quit. That's when willpower will take over. And you will stay quit. Let's go home. That's it. We are done. 12 yards 2 weeks ago, 12 yards today. We're about 20 minutes behind schedule compared to where we were 2 weeks ago. But I have no complaints, because the 2 yards that we did today, my yard and my neighbor's yard, is much more work than the 2 yards of the group of 4 that we didn't do today, that we did 2 weeks ago. So we did a little bit more work today. We made a little bit less money today. The time's about right, and I did it all with an empty chair. So we're just gonna keep on going now, and I'll close the vlog out here in my truck. We're gonna keep on going now throughout this week. Like I said, tomorrow we're gonna have 17 or 18 due, and then the week gets easier as we go. And my goal is to not have to work Saturday, to not have to do those real tiny ones that old boy used to do. I want to be able to do those Friday, so I need to stay on point, stay on schedule. I need to keep knocking them out, and try to get all my work done. About 60 yards needs to get done in the next in 5 days here. So we're going to be averaging 12 yards a day, and we're going to be doing about 60 yards. So right now we're at 12. Tomorrow will be 17. Then one day is 9, and I think one day is 10 or something like that. But it works. It's going to work out to about 60 yards. Very darn close, including mine. That's including my yard. So 12 includes my yard. So we did 12 today, including my yard. All right, so we're gonna close it out. Thanks for following along. Today was just needed to set the tone today, get everything out there, all the information out there, so now you know what to look for as we go. I promise you more mowing vids tomorrow. It's just too much damn driving today. It's such a hard day. It really is. It's a lot of driving, but that's behind us. So we're gonna keep on rolling. And one other point. 2 weeks ago today, I used maybe a gallon of fuel in all of our equipment. Maybe a gallon of fuel. Today, I put 2.5 gallons of fuel in the big mower, and it's going to need to be filled up probably by the next, like the second yard tomorrow. So we're gonna have used probably, and I filled it up at the end of the second yard. So we used 2.5 gallons of gasoline in the mower, and probably about maybe a half a gallon at the most in the weed eaters and edgers and blowers. So probably about 3 gallons of gas used today in comparison to almost 1 gallon of gas used 2 weeks ago. So not that that's a big deal. I mean, that's only $4, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. It's something that should be noted. And one day when gas is $8 a gallon, and it will be, that's something that, you know, you need to consider as well. So, but right now it's not, and we're living large with $1.90 gas over here in Savannah. So it's fine. But I just wanted to make that note that there is a discrepancy in fuel. Or not a discrepancy, but there is a difference in fuel, and that difference is about 2 gallons more today doing the same route than we did last time. So just saying, just saying. But anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I really appreciate everything that you guys do with your comments and all the likes and thumbs up that you guys are giving me. So check out the links below. Please check the charity. Share it, donate. We got another notice the other day that somebody donated, so thank you very, very much. Every little penny helps to get us to our $1,000 goal by November. If you like the cameras, if you like anything that's going on, questions about the Bluetooth, I got all those linked down at the bottom of my video, so you can check those out individually or whatever. Yes, Saturday I talked about being a Prime member and getting free shipping with Amazon, so you know that's pretty awesome. And let me see what else. Parts, I got some parts listed that I use, things that I buy for my business. So yeah, that's about it. So I will see you guys. You thought I was gonna do it, didn't you? You did. You thought I was gonna do it. No.